Actually, a friend of mine talked to me and said, "It seems like you care a lot about what other people think about you." And my first reaction was, "No, I don't care about what other people think about me." I turned around, then I thought, actually, it's true. I care a lot about what other people think about me. It's the same here. I'm standing here looking at you, and I'm wondering, what will you all think about me? And you are looking at me, and probably you are thinking, what will he talk about? And if you think about it, then humans really think a lot about other people. We think about what our boss might think about us, or our colleagues, our spouse. We spend a lot of time thinking about other people. And especially in my case, I analyzed myself why I do that. And I realized I was born in Germany, but I clearly looked Asian, Korean, not Chinese. And when I went back to Korea when I was a child, again, I thought, hey, now everyone looks like me. I must be the same, but it wasn't. The way I use gestures, the way I pronounce Oktoberfest, or other kind of words, they revealed I was born and raised in Germany. So they, again, realized pretty fast, he's quite different. He's somehow different. And it's pretty hard if you're a stranger somewhere, you want to start new, then you actually think even more about what other people might think about you. And that somehow motivated me to become a social neuroscientist because it deals with the science of how other people perceive you and how the brain perceives other people. So this is the title of my talk, What Do Others Think of You? How the Brain Perceives Other People. And I want to start with an amazing animal, a story about hippos. These are two hippos, male hippos, and they fight for the true love of female hippo. How do they fight? One male hippo opens his mouth, another male hippo opens his mouth. The one with the bigger mouth always wins. That's it. They don't really fight. Thank you. They open their mouth, and then they give up their true love. I thought, why? Maybe the smaller mouse one has stronger muscles, maybe he can fight for his true love, get a female. But no, with hippos, the big mouse always wins. Why? Because evolution made the brain of the hippo in such a way they recognize it as a clear signal that the other one is more dominant. Luckily, with humans, it's not always like that the big mouse wins, but still, sometimes we can realize who is the dominant one. Who is the boss here? Can you see it? I mean, even when you don't know the person, you know clearly who the boss is. How did you know? How did your brain realize it? By looking at the facial expressions, at the pose. So the posture and the facial expressions revealed, and you didn't even have to think about it, who is the boss. You knew it instantly. And it's similar with actions. So look at this video. He is a really nice young man. He wants to cook a romantic dinner for his wife. So he prepares flowers and he makes some food. But as it is in life, sometimes misunderstandings happen. And in the last moment, before he finishes his dinner, what his wife sees is exactly this. Thank you. I see. Again, all of you realize what situation that is right away. How did you know? Your brain perceived the situation instantaneously within a few milliseconds, within a few seconds, and you knew what's going on. For sure, you can explain later, but it was clear for everyone. Now, it is similar with the way how we see other people. Our brain perceives a lot of social cues, and it does it automatically. For example, if you look at this guy, then if you need to describe him, you would say a young European guy, maybe a young British guy, right? So there are three things your brain almost automatically perceives. It is the age, it is the gender, and also the ethnicity of people. For example, whether I'm Asian or European, it's clear. If you say African American, you will be also realizing it without even thinking. And there was a nice study, if you see, from the University of Cambridge. Just by changing the skin color, your perception really changes. You have a different first impression of this guy, although all what they did was changing the skin color on the computer, right? So the way we perceive other people is to a certain degree also automatically realized in our brain. Our brain works, and doesn't let you think. It automatically perceives some things like race, ethnicity, age, gender. Another question. I typed in one word on Google search. It's one common word for all these people. Do you know what kind of word I could have been typing into Google?
Happy.
No. Boss? No. So the same keyword I typed in becomes very clear in the next slide. It's the same keyword I typed in for this picture. Medical doctor. So these people are medical doctors in different countries. These people are medical doctors. How did you know? By the way they dressed. The white gown signalized that they are medical doctors. Okay, so the way we dress, the way we wear attire gives social cues, but not always reliable, because not everyone who wears a gown is a doctor, right? But still, the way you found what's common with these people is by looking at their dress style. So that's one thing we also realize instantaneously. This is an interesting study in a collaboration with Trinity College Dublin. So we recorded, motion captured a lot of people when they were running. And it's amazing. If you look, you already can get certain feelings, gut feelings about a person. So let's say you have to run a marathon together with someone, do partner work. Look at the very right guy. He's very motivated. You would right away want to take him as a partner, whereas other people in the middle, you can say, oh, he's a jogger. He runs a lot. So all this information about these people is clear just by the way when you look how they move. Even when you ask them to dance rock and roll, to the same. You might see someone is more shy, someone is more extrovert, and that's your gut feeling about these people. By the way, it's interesting. If you compare 100 people and ask them the same question, what's your gut feeling about the personality of these people, almost 80–90% of people think the same about someone. So if you thought, that guy here in front, he looks funny, yeah, and I think I might like him, then maybe 80% of the people might think the same. So there is an interesting correlation between how people perceive other people, which seems to be quite automatic. This is one of my favorite studies from MIT and Northwestern University. So they took people to study how gestures influence your judgments about trustworthiness. So to make it easier, they let people play a game. So let's say you and you play a game. I give you 10 red coins, I give you 10 blue coins, and all you have to do is, right after the experiment, you have to give the coins to me. I give you for each coin €1. That's it. You get €10 home. But if you give your blue coins to the other and you exchange, and you give me the coin of the other person, then actually you get double. You get €2 per coin, so you get €20. How easy is that? You can just exchange. But it is only when people are as good as you are here and you were thinking, a good option, because other people might calculate in their head and they think, actually, I can keep my 10, and if he gives me all, I get 30, and I don't care whether he has 0. Right? And actually, you can do this kind of games, especially with economy students, and you will get those kind of results. Not all economy students. But the interesting message is this game can be used as a measure how much another person might trust you. And interestingly, if you let the people who'd never seen each other before interact, and they use certain kind of gestures, like these, then afterwards, people gave the person significantly less money, meaning they trusted the person less. Okay, interesting. Wow, certain kinds of gestures exist. But now, they went to MIT, this robot's name is Nexi. They programmed the robot to perform 5 neutral gestures, 5 negative gestures, and then asked the people afterwards, and when they were asked, they said, oh, the robot is cool, really interesting. The robot produced a lot of gestures, I like the robot. But if they had to play the game, again, when the robot used negative gestures, they also gave less money to the robot. So it seems almost automatic how we realize those kind of gestures in the way we judge other people. There's another study. I performed it by myself. So if you actually type in cooperation, again in Google, then this is one of the pictures. 2 donkeys want to get the food. Rope is too short, so they can only get to the food when they cooperate. I thought this is nice. I want to do the same experiment with humans. So I connected them, so they couldn't see each other. The rope was too short, and they had to kind of move and interact without seeing, without hearing each other, just by pulling the rope. And interestingly, people developed kind of an expectation that you need to do a turn-taking, reciprocity. So if I let you go, then you should let me go. This is automatic expectation. Although they couldn't speak about it, they couldn't talk about it, it was not rule, but people automatically expect it. So even by pulling the rope, they have certain kind of expectations and judge other people automatically by how they pulled the rope, whether this person is cooperative or not cooperative. I found it really interesting. So, to sum up, what do we perceive from other people? There are a lot of social cues. But similar to hippos, there are a lot of things we automatically realize, and this is age, gender, ethnicity, attire, dress style, also posture and gestures, and also certain kind of actions and intentions. Okay, but human versus hippos. Both can have big mouths, but are humans really same as those animals? What is different for humans? So here's one example. What kind of action do you see? It can be someone pushing, it can be someone with a stick, it can be stretching, and if you had a really great party last night, it could be, okay. So you can see different actions here, and it's the same for these two guys in this movie. So here's one nice gentleman, he owns a nice Porsche, and then he did some sports, he's kind of resting. Another gentleman is coming along, is seeing the same action as before, and he thinks, interesting, okay. And then he thinks, hey, I want to join. Looks interesting. Let me help you. 1, 2, 3. So he thought he was pushing, and he helped him doing the action. So what does it tell? For us humans, the same action can have different meanings. So what the eye see, a big mouse, is not all. The brain perceives other things. The same action can be interpreted in different contexts, in different ways, and can have different meanings. Similarly, you might think Asians look all the same. I already heard tonight that I look like someone they know, whether they knew someone like me before, met me. And it's true, if you look at this picture, these Miss Korean candidates from 2013, they look similar, right? And the reason why we perceive those faces as very similar is because we don't have so much experience with Asian faces. Imagine you'd go to penguin land and see penguins and have to distinguish their faces. You have no experience. You cannot distinguish the identity of penguins. Maybe these guys, but in most of the cases, not really. Okay, so a friend from Korea actually called me and said, by the way, in Germany, the news anchors in the evening news, do they all look alike? And I said, no way, no, they all look different. No, when I watch German television, it looks like they look very similar. And then I saw this picture. That means for the Asians who are not specialized in European faces, it looked very similar, like the same person. We have one more phenomenon. This year, it was all in the internet. The same color of a dress was perceived differently by people, right? Some saw it more like white gold, some saw it more like blue-black. I'm not going to ask you, you probably had a discussion already. Maybe your perception can also change. So, what do I want to say? Compared humans to hippos, we all see the world differently, even when we see one stimulus. So we can see it with actions, we can see it with faces, also with dresses. The way we see the world is a little bit more complex because all the experience we accumulated over the time changes the prior for our brain, so we can perceive the world differently. Okay, this is not all, but you also need to measure it. This is really nice. But what do I do as a social neuroscientist in the laboratory? I want to study social interaction, how people see each other. And for this, I need an experimental method to measure it. And at my institute, what we do is we make 3D models, for example, of faces or of bodies. So this is my PhD advisor, Professor Bülthoff from the Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics. We can keep his identity the same and then change the facial model to looking more Asian. So with this kind of setup, you could test whether really Asians can distinguish Asians better or Europeans because you have the same facial identity and you can make it perceived more Asian or more European. It's a nice method by using these 3D models. And we can also use real-time interaction with avatars in virtual reality. So this is my advisor, supervisor. So he has a goggle which is tracked and also a hand which is tracked. And if you wear his goggle, you see a 3D avatar really popping out, and you can do high five, interact. He actually programmed the Star Wars sword to play together with the avatar as well. It's all possible and it feels really real. But you have all the control about how the avatar looks. For example, we can make the same motion performed looking like a robot or looking like a human, and see how humans interact, how do they differently use their motions or actions. So this is a really interesting way to study social interaction in virtual reality and using computational models. Okay, but I want to end with something which I find really interesting, and it is a question about what is really special about our human brain compared to all animals or hippos. So hippos or whales or elephants, they have bigger brains. Talking about the size, they have much bigger brain. But if you look at the human brain, one part of the brain, which is the neocortex, is the biggest compared to all the other animals. So if you actually look where human intelligence comes from, then it is due to the neocortex, the big neocortex. And interestingly, if you look in evolution and look at fossil studies, and they looked, when did we humans become so intelligent? Then it was not when we were fighting nature or started using tools. It was when humans started to live together with other humans. When the biggest friend and the biggest enemy of humans were other humans. So our brain is specialized for other people and thinking about what other people might think, who might harm me, who might be my friend. This made us so intelligent. This is called the social intelligence hypothesis, and I find this really interesting because it shows something special. So, another evidence, so if you look at this circle, we humans perceive other humans much, much stronger. So if I draw just 2 more circles, a line, then you already perceive a face. You can do it maybe with a car, it looks like the eyes moving. So you can already perceive from very simple things, something like a face. Again, this is a white picture with black silhouettes, but you can already see people dancing. This is not trivial. Your brain is specialized for realizing, recognizing all those kind of actions. And now, the last question. And this is the biggest evidence why we think so much about other people. What makes you really happy? Think about the last moment when you were really happy. I'm sure you were not alone. You were with someone you really love, you really like, with your family, maybe with your spouse, with your girlfriend, boyfriend. Because for me, this little boy, a master of disaster, my son Theo, he makes me really happy. And what is special about the brain is, what is food, a reward for animals? It is social interaction for us humans. So if you look at someone, if you smile, all these count as a reward for our brain. And social interaction makes us happy. And it is really something which made me happy that you all listened to my story. You can also make other people happy by smiling at them, interacting with them. Thank you for being here and listening to my story. Thank you.